Hello everyone, I'm Ekta Abrol, a seasoned educator with 25 years of teaching experience at City Montessori School, Kanpur Road campus, Lucknow. Throughout my career, I have focused on nurturing global citizenship and pioneering innovative teaching practices that empower students to think critically and act compassionately. I'm thrilled to share my insights today and hope to spark meaningful dialogue with all of you. Before we begin, let me ask you a simple question. Have you ever taught a lesson that you planned beautifully, but halfway through realized students were not where you expected them to be? If your answer is yes, you are not alone. That gap between what we teach and what students actually absorb is exactly where Bloom taxonomy helps us. Let's think of a moment when our students have surprised us with a brilliant question and a wonderful creative idea. That moment happened because the students moved beyond remembering into deeper thinking. Bloom's taxonomy helps us intentionally create more of these moments. This Bloom's taxonomy is a set of 6 progressive skills, namely remembering, understanding, applying, when we talk of remembering, when we talk of remembering, it makes it leads to the simplest level of students understanding and grasping. It refers we'll explore a structured ladder that transforms lesson planning from content coverage to meaningful learning design. This session will show you how each level can shape stronger objectives, smarter assessments, and more engaged classrooms. It's a framework for engaging and challenging learners. It gives you a clear, structured pathway to move learners from remembering facts to creating original ideas. What it looks like in a lesson plan. It organizes cognitive skills into 6 progressive levels, from foundational knowledge to creative synthesis. Each level builds on the previous level, creating a scaffolded pathway to deep learning. The 6 levels of cognitive skills are remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. Let's begin with remembering. Memory is the gateway to mastery. Students must know before they can do. This level sets the baseline. Students need the basic knowledge before they can manipulate or apply it effectively. The practical strategies which we use to implement this level takes us to begin to start with designing quick retrieval activities like flashcards, entrance tickets, or rapid fire sessions, which focus on facts, building vocabulary, introducing definitions, basic terminology, and keywords. We may use different teaching aids to enhance retention and memory. The aids may include acronyms, mnemonics, visual anchors. The next level takes us to understanding. If the students can explain it, they understand it and make meaningful references. This level ensures students can explain ideas into their own words. It makes sure comprehension takes place before they move to high order tasks. The effective activities include explanation in their own words, summarizing, graphic organizers, mind mapping, visual representations, and activities like think, pair, and share. These all help them to build connections between the concepts. This leads to the next stage of applying. Knowledge becomes power only when students can use it. The purpose is making the learning real. At this level, learning becomes tangible and relevant as it bridges the gap between the theory and the practice. The practical strategies include designing tasks in such a way that students are able to use the concepts to solve real world problems in authentic scenario, like applying acquired knowledge in case studies, simulations. We also use hands-on practice. Hands-on practice helps them to create opportunities to apply formulas, demonstrate procedures, and execute experiments. Now the question comes, will how are they able to transfer their skills? This level of application helps them transfer their skills so that the students can take challenges and apply the knowledge successfully from one context to another new situation. Analyzing the next stage helps us to lead our students to dig deeper. It forces them to see patterns, relations, hidden meanings by breaking the complex information into small chunks, component parts. This level helps them to compare and analyze. They are able to compare and contrast the information from multiple sources and perspectives. It helps them identify cause and effect relationship. It helps them examine evidences so that they are able to draw conclusions and make decisions, ultimately leading to problem solving and decision making. Some of the activities to engage students to lead to this level include using Venn diagrams for comparison tasks, analyzing the data present to them so that they can interpret and use the information for further exercises. It also helps them to identify the bias available to them through the primary resources. Now, when we talk about evaluation, it proves that thinking with evidence is more valuable. It builds judgment and critical reasoning. It helps them to practice justifying of skills. The practical application of this level is reflected when we see students are able to judge, assess critically, and defend the ideas in form of peer assessments, evaluation through rubrics, and assessing peer work. Students assess the value, the credibility, and effectiveness of ideas, arguments, and solutions using the criteria which they have established through their own learning. The learners are able to articulate and support their viewpoints in a structured form through debates, seminars, reflecting their learning through evaluations and persuasive essays. They use clear rubrics and use critical analysis with the help of these rubrics and provide constructive feedback because they are able to evaluate the standards and rubrics very clearly. The next level is creating. This is the ultimate level, the pinnacle of learning. Creation is the ultimate proof of understanding. This level ultimately reflects the children have grasped the concepts and they are ready to reflect their information. This encapsulates the mastery. Students are able to synthesize their learning into something new and meaningful. The examples include presentations of projects, models, experiment design to demonstrate comprehended learning. Now, what comes to us is why does this matter? Why is it important? Where does the role of Bloom's taxonomy lies in all this? Why does it matter? It matters because Bloom's taxonomy acts as the cornerstone and shapes rock solid lesson plans. We can start from the initial level. The step one of planning a lesson takes us to think of smart Bloom verbs. The verbs help us write objectives that are clear, observable, and measurable. For example, explain photosynthesis. It leads them to reflect the understanding. Designing, the question says design a water saving device. It helps them ultimately to create. Step 2 takes us to build a learning journey from low order to high order. We can look upon a 20-minute sample for the session. We may assign 2 minutes for remember, which includes a quick recall and warm up, a 3-minute session slot to understand, so that it leads to mini clarification or give an example and connect it to the real life. Next is 5-minute time can be assigned to application of short and hands-on tasks. For next 5 minutes can be given for analysis so that the child can compare, classify, and interpret. A 3-minute slot can be given to evaluate, peer work, or to reflect on his own learning. Finally, 2 minutes can be assigned for creation. It can be the child may reflect his learning in one sentence idea, model, or solution as an exit ticket. This sets the floor for the further learning. Step 3 takes us to assess smarter. We may design questions at different levels. Like when we design questions like MCQs, they refer to remembering and understanding level. When we frame questions with short answers, they lead to application of knowledge and analysis of information. And ultimately, when we take them to projects or models, it is for evaluation and creation. It also helps us to differentiate without any extra work, without giving us any extra pressure. We all say work smart, not hard. This helps the students to scaffold the learning. The learning scaffolding for lower levels can be providing them with sentence starters or guided notes. And on the other hand, we may provide extension work for high thinkers, like providing the students with a mini research task or design a new task. In my When I take my classes, I ask my students to maintain a research journal. Whatever they find new, whatever they want to explore, they note it down and they bring it in the next class. Step 5 takes us to feedback that moves students forward. So when we use rubrics well aligned with Bloom levels, we help the students to understand, to know, to believe where they exactly are and where they need to go next. It's like sitting on the floor for them to understand where they are and to know where they go to next level. A great lesson does not happen by chance. It happens by design. And Bloom's taxonomy gives us the blueprint. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Ekta. If you can stop sharing the screen, ma'am, I would like to ask you a couple of questions.
Yes.
So, how do one choose the right Bloom's verb when writing a learning objective, ma'am?
The first thing which we need to understand is that we need to know our students. We need to understand where our child stands. We may start by asking ourselves, what exactly do I want my students to be able to do by the end of the lesson? If the goal is recall, we may choose verbs like list, define, identify. If it's deeper thinking, I may choose verbs like analyze, compare, justify, or create. The key is that the verb should describe an observable behavior which can also be measured. If I can see it or hear it or I can assess it, and that's when I know I have chosen the right verb.
So, do we need to move through all 6 levels of Bloom's in every lesson, ma'am?
No, we need not go through all the 6 levels in the same quiz, in the same session. Sometimes we may need it as a starter to get an idea of the understanding of the students. Actually, Bloom's is not a checklist, it's a guide. A single lesson might focus on only 2 or 3 levels depending on the purpose. What matters is progression and not completion. Some days we may stay at using and understanding, other days we may reach to evaluate and create. The goal is movement over time, not cramming all 6 into every session. But yes, it also depends the part of my course content which I am dealing with. Sometimes I just need to make a good beginning, and develop the interest of the students. Sometimes I have given them a content, I just need to give them some hand holding so that I can pull them and help them overcome their fears.
Okay. So, how do we support students who struggle with higher order thinking skills like analyzing or evaluating, ma'am?
As a teacher, as a facilitator, my role lies in supporting my students who are struggling and also giving something extra to those who are achievers. I categorize my students as dreamers and achievers. So, scaffolding is the key. We may start by modeling the thought process, like compare, classify, question, justify, and then out loud, so that whatever they've explored, they can reflect and share with us. We may give them sentence starters like, this happened because, or a better solution would be. We may also use mind mappers and graphic organizers to visualize and help them break down their thinking. And most importantly, we need to build confidence in them through guided practice before expecting them to analyze independently. And when we come to high order thinking, it grows when the students feel safe to explore. I have observed that many of the students, they don't come up with their answers and solutions because of the fear of thinking that they may make a mistake. So just giving the confidence to my child that it's not wrong, but there is a better way of expressing helps them gain the confidence and come up with their own solution.
Right, ma'am. So, what type of assessments fit each level of Bloom's taxonomy?
Yeah, different levels of Bloom's taxonomy can be catered to different levels of assessments as per the need of our students. When my student is at the lower level, I wish to take them to remember and understand. So they are perfect for lower levels, are perfect for MCQs, matchings, and short recall prompts. It helps in the beginning sessions of my lesson. In mid levels, I prefer taking questions which help students to apply their knowledge and analyze. It fits best with the problem solving questions, case studies, data interpretations, like research the right questions based on research analysis. For higher levels, we frame questions like evaluation and creation, where we give them a broad field, to answer a scope of questions with open-ended responses, debates, reflection sheets, presentations, models, and projects where we tell the child that now it's all yours. You have to reflect what you have learned till now. When we align assessment to the specific level, we get a far more accurate picture of learning, and that's our earning.
Great, ma'am. So that's all. That ends the Q&A session, ma'am. And before I end the session, anything else you want to mention, Miss Ekta?
I would just wish to express my gratitude towards you and this platform, which has as an provided as an opportunity to me as an educator to share my learning and many more educators who wish to learn more from each other. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Looking
so much.
forward to more exchange of learning. That's
Sure,
it.
ma'am. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge on our platform, ma'am. I will end the session now.
Thank you.